Good evening and welcome. This is San Francisco Common Sense, and I am Sheila Harris. I will be, part hosting tonight along with my esteemed guests and colleagues here at the round table. So let me start introducing. To my left, I have,
Gregory Richardson.
and to my right,
Majid Crawford.
Carmelita Harris.
And Sonny Francis.
and we are here this evening, guys, to have a roundtable discussion on jazz. You know it's National Jazz Month. We celebrate next month in the Fillmore, like May 6th, around May 6th. And like 2 years ago, we've done it for 2 years at my cookie shop at Bumsy's. And so we have a day program, and John Templeton is the historian, a great historian, and he comes and we just bring in everyone and we talk about jazz and where jazz was, where jazz has gone, and where it is now. And so we're going to ask some questions and throw them out here, and they're open for anyone to answer. So let's get started.
Well, that question is, what do you know about jazz in the Fillmore? Who wants to take that?
Well, don't everybody jump in. I'll start. I'll just go really quick. Jazz in the Fillmore, as we know now, is defunct. It is not. It is not present. However, there is a rich jazz history in the Fillmore. I think that we've all probably at one time or another have experienced, and I'll let Majid take the lead from that.
Well, you know, it's when you think about jazz, it's pretty interesting, and in the Fillmore, because they don't talk about jazz or the Fillmore in the public schools. You know, they don't talk about the rise and the fall of jazz. And so I didn't learn about it myself when I was in high school. I didn't learn about it when I was in my early 20s. I didn't learn about it until I was 29 of the rich jazz heritage in the Fillmore and urban renewal. So I think that when you think about Fillmore and you think about jazz, there really is a disconnect.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of young people they don't know the history.
No, they don't.
Well,
They
to
do
me, jazz in the Fillmore is Feel No More. Jazz in the Fillmore. Which is quite a shame if we look at what is really going on with Yoshis and how the African American community came here in the 50s and what they went through to with the Japanese community moving into the Fillmore and then being taken out of the Fillmore because of Pearl Harbor and the war, and African Americans actually the Japanese rented their homes of to African Americans. That's how we ended up in the Fillmore, going way back, all the way in the upper Fillmore, they call it now, and lower Fillmore was Japanese, and we actually got that privilege. And that's how the idea was born, because jazz came to the Fillmore way back in the 50s. In the 50s is when all the military towns, San Francisco, all the cats would come from the south and come up, and now it's all gone because of urban removal or redevelopment.
Carmelita, let's hear from you.
Well, I remember jazz in the Fillmore as coming up because my mom was in the jazz, and she got me into piano, and I would have to know the distinction of Thelonious Monk and John Coltrane, the sound, and Miles Davis, and that kind of thing. So I remember the Bothan that used to be on the Visadero, and was that Oak? And I was too young to go in there, but passing by, hearing the artists, and then my dad was a photographer, and I remember seeing some of his pictures of Count Basie and Duke Ellington, at different clubs. I think it was on Sutter and Fillmore, and I remember as a little girl, all the clubs down on Fillmore, and the people blacks dressing really good, and furs and cowlicks, and all that. I just kind of remember that, and the jazz, I think it's still there, it's still alive, but it's not like it was like when I was a little girl, but it's still,
It's still very much alive. I feel it's very much alive just in the Fillmore and maybe around the
Yeah.
different parts of the city. I think it's a little subdued.
yeah, not like
It's
it.
not Sunny.
out.
It's not out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sunny Francis.
My show is a Domino Theory, and we come on Tuesdays, Tuesday mornings, and sometimes you can hear us. I have been in San Francisco since 1957, and when I got here, reluctantly, from New Orleans, I had been exposed to jazz at a very young age, and one of my favorite jazz persons, of course, is Satchmo, Louis Armstrong. But anyway, he's from New Orleans, and I'm from New Orleans. So anyway, when I got here, North Beach, the Purple Onion, was a place that Miles Davis played, and then there was the Black Hawk, and there were several other places in North Beach that we weren't old enough to go to, but we would sort of hang out and do whatever we did back then. But jazz, as far as the Fillmore is concerned, we had the Blue Mirror
Yes.
and places like that. Down around McAllister and Fillmore, the Manor Plaza Hotel had a jazz set up in the lounge area. But there were quite a few places, outlets for jazz and jazz music. I have no problem with what's going on today with music as far as synthesized music is concerned. But there's nothing like people sitting there playing on the keyboard. And I just wish, you wish 2020 hindsight, I was exposed to the piano at a very young age, but I wanted to go play football. Anyway, that's my story.
That's your story.
But what are some of
And I'm
your
sticking with it.
what are some of your Donna's memories in the Fillmore?
Actually, when I came here, cultural shock, people being mixed together. Even though we were segregated, we were like integrated. And I had never went to school with people of other races before coming from New Orleans. And that's a fact. And to have a teacher of a different racial background was different because I think the people in the South cared a little bit more. And maybe that's just my projection, but it was different. It was very different at that time. And seeing a change, I'm not really feeling that bad about it because change is the only thing that is constant,
Yes, it is.
and it's going to be happening. So we go from one place to the other place, and hopefully, it'll all be positive.
Yes.
And someone had a question. They said, "What happened to the people in the Fillmore? Where did they go
And when you say the people,
that were
Oh, we
displaced? The displacement in the Fillmore."
as far as the clubs, you mean? Or just
Redevelopment.
redevelopment, you mean with the
Where
residents?
did the
or-
people go that were removed? You know where they are now?
Well, they all scattered. They're scattered about, like a diaspora. I mean, it's just, they're scattered about. We've lost that area. I work there every day. And more I see the diversity, if you'd like to say, in the Fillmore. But like you said, when you initially started, it's Phil no more.
Well, I think what happened, from my perspective, a lot of them went to jail.
Went to jail?
Yeah, because of the public schools didn't teach. A lot of the public school created this problem we have today. Just get a grade, or like welfare, get a baby and get paid. What happened around America was the public school system was so terrible that they would not deal with how to teach children properly. That's had a lot to do with the demise of the African American community. Now when redevelopment came in, Jim Jones showed up, for instance. Jim Jones, Guyana, had a church right in the heart of Fillmore, told the people in the Fillmore that he has going to take them to the promised land. Little did they know they were in the promised land. They went to Guyana, drunk some cyanide Kool-Aid and never came back. Justin Herman Plaza had a plan for the Fillmore. That plan dealt with redevelopment. Right now you can look at the Fillmore Center sitting there. That was projects. That was public housing. What happened to those people? Well, I mean, we're trying to find them now. The mayor has a program out there. Anyone that's watching this that used to live in the Fillmore, call the mayor's office immediately so that you may get the opportunities to come back. Right now, you have first choice in coming back to your community if you call the mayor's office. That's 554-6141. But anybody else have anything to say on that?
Yeah, you just covered quite a few subjects there,
Yeah.
and I wanted to get at you on a couple of those things that you said, but I don't want to be controversial. I think what happened to the people that lived in the Fillmore, we only have to take a 10-minute drive across the bridge to find out where they are. Most of them went to Richmond, Vallejo, and
Antioch.
Oakland, Antioch, and those places like that. Reason being, of course, because of the rent increases and the lack of housing, affordable housing here in San Francisco. I do not blame Jim Jones totally for what happened in Guyana. I place the blame on some of the black leaders in our community because they anointed him. He was anointed by the mayor. He was accepted by the establishment, and he was put in a position that he really shouldn't have been in. So we can't say Jim Jones got all these black folks together and took them down. No, he didn't do that. They were all sort of bundled together, and he took people that were coming out of prison now. And that's another subject. The people that are being released because of Governor Brown's program have to have a place to stay. So it's like a mass exodus back into the community. So what's happening now is that people are making money because they're opening up these halfway houses.
Yes.
And the services, I don't know what quality they are, but it's like a mass warehousing of former inmates. But that has nothing to do with jazz, but I just want to throw that in there.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring us realist back in.
Yeah.
And our next question is, what happened to Yoshi's? Majid, you worked lots with Brothers for Change and in the community, so maybe you can give us your viewpoints on what happened to Yoshi's.
Well, you know, that's a. I mean, I think you could ask City Hall, or you could ask the owner of Yoshi's what happened, and I wonder what their answer would be. You know, and I wonder who really knows what's happened at Yoshi's. Obviously, I mean, I guess in my opinion, it was doomed from the beginning, Yoshi's, and the reason I say that is because I think that when you talk about developing a community, you know, this is an African American community, this is a black community, and so when you talk about economic development for a black community, you're supposed to say black economics,
Yes.
whatever that is. And so what happened was when Yoshi's was building, they said black economics. But then they put that aside, and then they said jazz,
Jazz
as if jazz is black,
is black.
or as if jazz is a people.
Is a people.
That's not a people. Black is the community. So the community consistently creating culture. So it's not just jazz. So what happened, if you looked at the community Fillmore, it's hip hop part of it.
Yeah.
So you talk about the blues, and they have kids. You know, those famous. Bobby Webb is a
Bobby
famous.
Webb is a
actually,
famous-
his kids listen to hip hop.
In the hip hop.
So if you're talking about economic development for a black community and you leave out hip hop, then you're not talking about economic development for a black community. You know, and so because they somehow they segregated our own community based on the cultural difference among the ages, it was really destined to fail.
Well, I
Okay.
think, too, that it
Gregory?
was destined to fail from the beginning, as you just mentioned. A redevelopment means you're out of here, period. They knew that Yoshi's couldn't make it. Yoshi's was a very small institution down the street, had a club in Oakland, they're still rolling. But if you look at what happened to Emmett Powell, for instance, Emmett Powell's place, same scenario. I mean, Emmett was doing very well down in the Hayes Valley area, and then moved to the Fillmore. Took out loans and bought into the Gussie's is gone now. 2 restaurants, Gussie's and Emmett Powell, and now Yoshi's. Now there seems to be a pattern there. What is the pattern? They knew that they couldn't make it because of the foot traffic. It wasn't developed. The shows that they gave just didn't fit the community. Like you said, it wasn't about jazz to me, and it was a losing situation. So to me, redevelopment means if we come in, you leaving, and that basically it was a falling project. Now look at Fillmore. You have Upper Fillmore moving down to Lower Fillmore, and that was set up for failure from the beginning. That's just my opinion.
Okay, we're going to reel it on along here. I've got another question. Gregory.
And how long have you been there in the neighborhood, for instance? Everybody, how long have you been in the neighborhood?
I've been in the neighborhood in excess of 27 years. I'm a native of Washington, D.C., and I moved here about 28 years ago. And I've been an entrepreneur in my cookie shop, going on 7 years, physically there at 1460 Fillmore, and on the web 4 years prior to that.
Okay.
And so we've come in at a good time. You know, everyone would talk about the
I
recession.
think we have a call.
Oh, we have a couple. Keep those lines. Oh, we've got to say that
Go
our
ahead, do you
call
have-
line are.
Do we have
Hello?
a caller?
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Yeah,
how are you?
Am I? Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
can
Is
you-
that sounds like Ken Johnson?
Yeah, that's Ken Johnson. I'm looking at y'all on TV, and it's a little I'm behind you. It seems like anyway. I was calling to talk about Yoshi's.
Okay.
Yeah, so I heard what you guys were saying, what you felt about Yoshi's, but I truly feel that it wasn't ran the management wasn't really ran right, and let me turn this off. It wasn't ran right, and it wasn't. See, they should have hired more people from the community. They should have had the talented people in the community as part of Yoshi's to draw the crowds. They didn't. Yoshi's. They could have had Bobby Webb coming in there doing blues, on some nights. They could have had Emmett Powell doing gospel shows. Now there's an opportunity that is closed that we, the community, can come together and put our ideas together and make that really happen, make something really happen positive there. So, all in the past has been they lost, but because they didn't really run it right. There was no community involvement. The Fillmore community is teeming with talented people. People that's been travel all over the world. People that's dynamic, just like all of you, the people that are there sitting there at the table. Each one of you have your own talents. I'm just so excited to be involved with the whole situation. I just think you guys are doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay positive, and so anyway, that's all I
All
want.
right. Well, thank you very much, Mr.
thank you.
Johnson. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Ken.
All right.
I'd like to respond to that, if I can. Yeah. First of all, when Yoshi's was built on that parking lot, that empty parking lot, the idea behind it was the condominiums that sit there now. Those are not affordable, and they're not market rate by any means. Yoshi's is something that can come and go. Anybody can run a nightclub, but anybody can't live in that building. So that would be my main concern. There was some money given out by the Central Business District some time ago to businesses along the Fillmore corridor, and certain businesses got
Okay.
paid, and Yoshi's was a part of that money that was taken out of the community.
Okay, we've got another phone call. And Gregory, I would like for you to answer that phone call.
Hello. How are you doing? Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I have a question in regards to the actual audience
Yes.
that, actually got to be able to afford to get into Yoshi's because Yoshi's was so expensive. None of us could afford to go in there. Could you make a comment about the economic development program that they were really working on? Since didn't they get a lot of money from the feds, from the redevelopment money?
Yeah.
I thought I
Yes.
just said that.
Yes,
I'll
yes,
take
they
my
did.
answer on the air.
Well, thank you for your call. We'll answer that amongst the panel here. And let's try and limit our answers, you guys, because we're running short on time.
Okay, well, so
We're down to
Sonny?
like
7:20.
8 minutes. Okay, so let's get back to some rich pointers about history. Like, well, I'll throw something out there. What about how we have the nice bricks along Fillmore? That's the only thing that's representative to me right now when I think of jazz in the Fillmore district. All the bricks, you know, and a lot of people just walk over them daily. They don't even look down. They're not even cognizant of them. And so I'm saying that needs to be embraced. We need to engage a conversation, and we can do that at another time. But I'm just saying, when you're in the Fillmore, walking down Fillmore Street between Sutter and Ellis, look down, look at the Gene Sutter Plaza, and look down and look at all the names, the jazz greats and the other greats that are here in the city.
Okay.
A lot of people don't see them.
I think I've
And
seen
I mean,
it.
it's on either side of the street. What is that, north and south? Yeah.
I'm
So,
glad you brought that up because
Okay,
you know
sorry.
along Fillmore also besides those names
Yes.
are actually the places that
Thank
clubs
you, the
were
clubs.
located. The historical places were actually located. So
Yes.
yeah, you need to. You see some people looking down on the ground, but not for the wrong reasons.
For the
But
wrong
anyway,
reason. Well, just a note, one note. 2 months ago, we lost I'll say a huge life here. A light went out in Leola King.
Yes.
She had the blue
Yeah.
mirror, so I just want to say rest in peace, Leola. We loved you.
Yeah.
We love Tony, and we'll be in touch.
So there was another question. What
What was
was
the
the
other
Fillmore most known for? What was it most known for?
What was it? You mean like history?
Fillmore,
Historically?
The Fillmore was once the national center of jazz attraction and many high-profile people from around the world. But what is it known for now? That's the
Now?
question. Yes.
The Fillmore?
The film.
What is it known for now, in your opinion?
Well, it's definitely a lot not jazz for me. I can't think of any live music that we have, but at Sheba's maybe every now and then. I guess she has music maybe Thursday through Saturday, maybe. And I know she has to turn it off at 12
Midnight?
Midnight.
Oh, okay.
Which is a great
Wow.
disservice because a
Wow.
lot of people don't get off and come out
Until 12
until
midnight.
12
Right.
on the
Yes,
weekend.
like they do in
And so
New
I'm
York,
saying,
yeah.
you know, it's so much. You guys, we need to get together and brainstorm and come up with some solid answers and put them in the right places to get them underway.
absolutely.
Because there's still a lot of jazz musicians
It's a
here.
lot of
like
yeah,
John Handy
Yes.
and
We've
you
got so many
know,
people
different-
here
They still have a
at
lot
the
of
farmers
rich.
market on Saturdays. Come out to
Still
the
a lot of
farmers
jazz.
market from 8, 9 until 1. We're one of the only farmers markets that has live music,
Oh.
and it's like a jam session. And it's your brother was one of the musicians there.
Yeah, Jaye and was a jazz band. They do play
Yes.
at the farmers market. I think that what's not to really dwell on the Fillmore and what is it going to. I think it's just a lost cause. I mean, they have the jazz. We're talking about why would people come in here? The question was. What was the most popular place for people to come see jazz? Now I think they may be going down to the new jazz center they have down on
Fell.
Franklin.
Franklin. What's
Franklin.
that place they have?
Yeah.
San Francisco jazz.
Yeah, San
Yeah.
Francisco Jazz.
San Francisco Jazz. See, that's what everything is now focused out of the community. I mean, they're doing jazz downtown. I mean, jazz is on Broadway, but
Slims.
in the Fillmore, they just specifically took it all out. I mean, you just. My idea is how do you really get people back to come and spend money in your neighborhood? Well, you don't own any businesses anymore. I mean, how are you going to train children And when you're pricing yourselves out, we're in a serious. But this is not only happening in San Francisco. This is happening across America, y'all.
But it is across America. But I
Okay.
want us to get back to the jazz because we are cutting down. Our time is running out, and I want us
But
to
the
all have.
question was, why were people coming here from all over?
Because Fillmore was at one time quoted or coined as being the Fillmore was the Harlem of the West.
Yeah.
Now I'm from the East Coast, and that's what I would hear. Of course, we would go to New York, but we had great jazz artists that came through Washington D.C. And I was privy to go in here and sit in with a lot of them. I have two sisters, one at Howard University, and she's in charge in the head honcho in the music department. So I was introduced to a lot. You know, I saw a lot of stars.
Do you play
African
music,
American-
Sheila?
Yes, I do. I play violin. I played
Is
first
that
chair
right?
violin for 17 years with the DC Youth Symphony.
Okay.
I used to call those fiddles.
Violin. I played first chair. And yes, I do. And I want to start playing piano.
Well, I certainly
And
like
that's
to
on
hear
my
you.
bucket
I
list.
like to hear you sometime.
Okay.
That's cool.
All right.
Okay.
You know, once you start, you never forget. Once you
true.
play,
That's true.
you
Yeah.
never forget. But I love music, all types of music, not just classical. I love all types of music.
Well, I,
love to
just wanna, I
dance.
just want to say you're watching SF Common Sense. This is channel 76 and also channel 29. It's public television, BAVAC, the Bay Area Video Coalition, and I think we're running out of time.
We
so
are
maybe
running
you
out
wanna
of time.
Let everybody have some
Well,
closing remarks.
Yeah, Sonny, let's start with you.
I think the question is, where do we go from here? We need to have some type of control over guns. We have too many kids dying out here on the streets. I went in the Army when I was 17, but I did that for a different reason. I didn't go in to kill people. I did it to get out of, well, to get out of the house.
Get out of the house.
Yeah, because I got tired of my mama telling me what to do. So I joined the Army. But anyway,
Did that work for you?
well,
Probably did.
I'm still here, so I guess it did. Yeah.
It's a blessing.
I guess it-
Mom knew what was
yeah,
best.
I think she thought it was better than Angola or San Quentin, so yeah, let him go in the
Sure
Army.
she
Yeah.
did.
And as I look at these young people, they're not that hard to touch, to reach out and touch. But I think that we have set up barriers ourselves. Some of us older people have our ways set, and we think that things go. But things change. When we were young, if we look back and we really take a look at what we did, there were things that weren't too kosher either. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that
Yeah.
and move on.
Because we're running out of
Thank
time.
you.
Well, we're running out of time.
Time,
I just
yes.
want to say I do a reggae show.
Okay.
And because they don't show that on the regular channel, so I'm on every Sunday at 10 p.m. So I just want
Alright.
to say that,
Legit.
because I love jazz. I started out with jazz. In San Francisco, we had Santana, we
Yes.
had Grateful Dead. We had all these musicians. What's the blues guy on Fillmore? John Lee Hooker, and we had all this richness
Yes, we
with
do.
all the musicians. So I just want to say that it's very diverse, and
Why don't you bring it on in and tell people?
Majid, yeah.
Well, I think we need to bring it back to when you think about jazz, when it has its roots in the Treme neighborhood, New Orleans. It had the revolutionary spirit. Jazz. I think that needs to come back. It's more than just entertainment. It's more than just drinking some cocktails. Listening to some fabulous music.
Music.
There was a revolutionary spirit behind
Yes,
it.
it
It
was.
was a
It
pioneering
was.
spirit.
Gil Scott Heron,
Yeah,
all these
yes.
people that
and
came
it,
here.
it brought the
you know,
the community.
the
It brought
issues,
everyone
yeah.
together for a common cause. You would talk about you would have your drinks like you said and do your dancing, but you got to talk and bounce off each other, brainstorm. It was more than that.
Well, I think too for me is I air every Wednesday night at 8:30. I'm sorry, 6:30 on channel 76, and Sundays at 10:30 p.m. It was a great place to be back in the when my family first came out. I remember we used to go over and get live chickens, and I remember I used to get my hair cut in the barber shop. I mean, it was just so much fun being here in San Francisco.
What y'all used to do to live chicken?
Eat
Our
it
time
up.
is up. I believe our time is up. But I am Sheila Harris, and I have I host the show Rise Up Ministries every Tuesday at 5 o'clock live, and on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
So thank you all for coming. We're going to get together again, guys.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
promise you.
Oh, yeah.
And if you'd like to see more of us, check out our shows, write us, or call us here at San Francisco Commons. Thank you so much.
And SF Commons, we have some sense up in here.